taxes and penalties really are the biggest costs that you could potentially have. Now the real issue is compliance. You've got to be compliant. And the way I got started in the international market, I had done a lot of big firms, General Dynamics, Futurium, furniture manufacturer, Motorola. So I had a lot of big clients that I was either the senior or the manager on as I grew up in the auditing part of it, my career. And what I found lots of defalcations, a lot of theft, but I also found a lot of stealing by the owners. And of course that meant there were more and more tax implications. And all those big companies had international divisions, even back then. And what I started to realize that taxes at any tax bracket were as important as the return on investment. I really feel like you need to develop cash flow. I know I've heard some of you talk about creating business, but you really do have to be really careful, because in today's world, in the international tax area, the government is coming in and charging huge civil penalties. And I've done tons of cases. We have what we call a voluntary disclosure program that's with the IRS, and we've done a lot of those where you have to come in and admit that you got money offshore, or you have foreign corporations, or you haven't reported income, or whatever it might be. But as good of cash flow is by saving the taxes, the worst part of it is if you have a penalty. Because if you have one of these civil penalties, very difficult to get rid of them. But I must say, my company has been very successful. I have 30-some people in Dallas. I have 2 down in San Antonio, and I have 20 up in Rockford, Illinois, who do our pension administration. And so I have a very good staff of employees that handle this kind of thing. And we've actually won civil tax cases. And those civil penalties are terrible, absolutely terrible. You can get rid of normal penalties for underpayment or whatever fairly easy. But when you get a civil penalty for failure to file a form or whatever, it's a real issue.